Okay, I'm just going to do a quick tutorial now to show you how to create the illusion of a coin spinning and then falling to a natural stop. This is the first tutorial I've ever made, so just bear with me a little bit. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is get rid of the grid lines because I can't stand those. They're useful for some things when using snap-ons, but for anything else they're pretty useless. So in the top viewport I'm going to create a plane, make it nice and big. That's a horrible garish colour. Let's make that a little bit less. Let's choose a grey colour, that's fine. I'm going to create a cylinder. This is going to be our coin. It doesn't matter too much about the resolution at this point. This is just to show you the physics of how you would make a coin spin. Okay, so let's just look at that there. Okay, so we've got the coin and we've got a surface on which it's going to spin, so I'll just extend that out. Right, so we need to make this coin spin now, so I'll switch on the auto key, select the coin and choose the rotate function and set the key. Okay, so we want to make this spin quite fast. I've made my timeline 300 frames. You can make it whatever length you want, but depending on the length of the spin, you'll have to put in more spins. So let's spin this coin now. And you can see in the y-axis that it's spinning there. Yep. Alright, so rather than do that, we'll just type it in here. Now you need quite a high value in here. Usually anything between 10 and 20,000 will be enough. That's degrees. I'm going to put 15,000 in here and hit enter. So let's just have a look at that. So you can see your coin now. Can you see how it's spinning off axis at the minute? That's because the pivot isn't central to the coin. So if we go up here to hierarchy, affect the pivot and center to the object. And now when we spin it, it spins on its axis. I'll just slow that down so you can see what's happening there. Okay, but there's something wrong with this. It doesn't look natural because the coin starts off slow and then accelerates and then slows down again towards the end, which is fine. But at the beginning that's no good. We want to set this coin off spinning as if somebody's just taken their fingers away and set the coin off. So if we open up the curve editor, you can see straight away this is the curve of our movement, and it falls off to a slow start, but it also curves at the beginning. So I'm using my scroll wheel on the mouse. I'm just drawing it back just to expand what I can see there. You can see there's a point there, that's the end, and a point at the beginning. We're going to select the very first point, and if we hit this, set the tangents to linear, can you see it straightens out the bar, so it sets off, and that means that we're going to get an even pace of speed until it reaches about there, and then it will fall off to a dead stop. So let's check that. Okay. It's pretty difficult to see in the viewport, but once you render this, trust me, it will look fine. Okay, so we've got the coin spinning. So how do we make it fall to the floor? Well, it's a neat little trick I discovered. Let's take off the hierarchy there. And I discovered this by trial and error. And basically, there's a simple rule to this that seems to work every time. I usually set the fall rate to start about 2/3 into the animation. You can put this anywhere, but this seems to be a fairly natural fall. So at frame 200 out of 300, I'm just going to get my coin. I'm just going to zoom in on this, and I'm going to set it so that it's, don't worry if this is not too accurate, the human eye won't pick up this anyway. Okay, so now going back up to here, make sure that rotate is selected and set the key. Now that's important, because otherwise, if you don't set the key at this point, any movements any keys you put in here will start to take effect from key 0, and you don't want that, because the coin doesn't want to start falling until it gets to frame 200. So at this point we move it another third on, so we're a third way through the animation, and now we're breaking that last section, the last 100 frames, into thirds, and that's roughly, not quite, but it will be roughly frame 233. And we're going to put a key in there. Before we do that, we want to make the coin fall flat, so if we go to the end frame, I'm just going to level this up again, rotate the coin. I'm just doing it roughly here. You can use the top viewport or the front viewport, and you should get an accurate rotate on that. Select the move modifier and pin it to the deck, and there we go. So now what we have, if you look at this viewport here, you can see that as the coin spins at frame 200, it starts to fall. But what you can see here is that the coin falls below the floor, so it's basically cutting into the floor, and we don't want that. And this is where the trick of the thirds comes in. Now, there is probably a mathematical explanation for this, but at frame 233, there we go, I'm now going to move the coin up with the auto key on so that it's touching the floor. Now this is where the magic happens, because the coin will spin, and then now as it falls, can you see it stays in contact with the floor? Now that's not quite right, we've just a little bit above there, so we'll go back to frame 233. What we can do is just move that a frame on, and this can take a bit of fine tuning, maybe the other way, one, it's better, and you've got the coin always in contact. And that's a rule that seems to apply with any rotating object that you want to fall like that, any cylinder. So we're going to animate this, so I'll just animate it and then we'll come back and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, we're back. I've now rendered out the video, and this is just a sample just to show you what it's capable of. So there's your coin spinning. Obviously if you're going to do this for a demo, you would add a lot of effects to that, but they're the basic physics. So the coin spins, and there it falls naturally to a stop. Okay guys, I'm going to finish off the tutorial and show you a finished piece of work. This is a fully rendered, fully textured British pound coin on a wooden surface, spinning using exactly the same principles as I've shown in the tutorial. And I'll leave you with this. Have fun.